Okay, we are live.
Deputy Clerk.
So we are meeting this evening for the public hearing to receive comments from the public on the Town of Mahone Bay draft 2021 to 2025 strategic plan. Your worship, did you want to start with the land acknowledgement?
Okay, we'll begin by acknowledging that we are gathered today in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral, present, and future territory of the Mi'kmaq people. Today we gather with the intent to live in the peace and friendship treaties with respect, cooperation, and coexistence, and we are thankful for that. Okay. Clerk, you're going to give us a report?
Sure. So, as I said, the purpose of this hearing is to receive verbal and written submissions regarding Council's draft 2021 to 2025 Town of Mahone Bay strategic plan. At the April 13th, 2021 regular meeting of Mahone Bay Town Council, Council approved the draft public engagement plan for the 2021 to 2025 strategic plan. That plan provided an outline for how the town would engage the public on the draft strategic plan. The draft strategic plan was posted on the town website, and members of the public were encouraged to review the draft and offer comments, participate in the public information meeting and/or the public hearing via notification on the town website, the mayor's newsletter, regular posts on social media, a notice posted at the post office, and an advertisement that ran for 2 consecutive weeks in the Progress Bulletin, as well as 2 separate notifications which were sent to those who had signed up for the communications from council and the community notices from the town notice boards on the town's mass notification system, Code Red. A public information meeting was held online via video conferencing on May 3rd, 2021 at 7 p.m. There were 15 people in attendance at the public information meeting, including 8 members of the public. The public information meeting was held on May 3rd. A notification was in the Progress Bulletin on April 28th, the town website, the town Facebook page, and the notice was posted at the post office. Tonight's public hearing was advertised in the Progress Bulletin on April 28th, as well as May 5th. It was published on the town website, the town Facebook page, and the notice was posted at the post office. Council all received a package earlier today with 4 comments submitted from, let me just check my number here, from the public. Those comments were from Leah Maloney, Varian Haysom, Joy Morgan, and Mary Ellen Donovan. And I believe everybody's had a chance to look at those comments. No more written submissions were received since that time, but I believe we have someone with us. I believe we have someone with us who wants to make a comment. Is that correct? Suzanne?
Oh, I don't need, I've got to find my thing. I'm just even, oh.
You're on mute now, Suzanne.
I unmuted, sorry. I'm just joining to listen and comment. I got a message that the YouTube something wasn't working, but to join the Zoom. So I'm just here as an observer mostly, and if I have comments, I will submit them.
Okay. So then
Nice to have you with us.
So then that is the entirety of the comments that we have received so far for the public hearing. Thank you, Your Worship.
Okay, thank you. I apologize for my hesitation. I recall these situations being managed by the clerk in the past, or the deputy clerk, but okay. So do we have anyone present who wishes to make a submission beyond those printed documents that have been received?
So I guess I'll just comment, Mr. Mayor, that if we were all in person, we would wait out the 15 minutes from convening. And we are on YouTube, and we do have a link available to people. So somebody might join, even if no one is available, no one has joined yet.
Yep, thank you. So we will await the 15-minute that is required under provincial legislation. And then we'll take a decision from there. If anyone is interested to speak who may be watching, how can they do that, Clerk?
Comments can be posted on the comment section of the YouTube feed as well. We currently have 9 people watching, but we have no comments at this point.
Okay, thank you. And I believe we started at 7:04.
And where we do have people watching who might be looking for a little bit of clarity on the process from here, at the end of the hearing tonight, the clerk, Maureen, will provide a report to tomorrow evening's council meeting, and council members who are here tonight, and in light of the materials they've received by email and written format, or now from tonight, if anyone joins us, will be able to discuss the substance of it and make a decision. So that's not happening tonight. If you're watching online waiting for that, that's happening same place on YouTube, but tomorrow night.
Okay, Councillor Burdick.
Just for clarification for me and possibly people watching, we received the letters and the comments, but at this point, are they available to the public to access, or is that tomorrow? So, or will there be a point where we're sort of giving an overview of the letters received now so that people might then respond to them when they're watching this?
The letters that we got from the public,
Yes.
CAO, would you care to comment?
Maureen was about to. Okay, well, my take on it, if this was in person, would be that those letters would be available tomorrow. I think the challenge is that our council package was already distributed. So, Maureen, I don't know if somebody were to join us for tomorrow evening's meeting, they would normally have access to that. Is there any way that we are distributing them?
We can just make another meeting package on the website just for the public hearing. We can do that.
Well, there you go.
We
If anybody's watching now and they've heard us refer to these 4 letters, you can find them on our website at some point tomorrow. Is that fair?
Yeah. What we would normally have in an in-person meeting, back in the before times, we would have copies of anything we had received in advance of the meeting that people could pick up a paper copy or something. But then we'd still be open to receiving more comments. There's a point in the day where I just say, this is what we have so far, and then we see if anything else comes in. So yeah, that stuff tends to be available afterwards, and it will be later on.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I'm wondering if this is the first hearing with the new council. Is this the first time we've had to sit in silence?
I think it is. Just more of those riveting council activities that we get involved in.
Well, I suppose somebody can be racing home. I'm not sure where they could have been. They could have been at work, I suppose. I'm trying to think in today's world, what would keep you 15 minutes late? I think the normal idea is you're caught in traffic on your way to the town hall and we don't wrap up on your way.
Seems how
Well,
our
there's
meeting
a
started a little
riveting-
bit late.
There's a riveting, I'm on two Zoom meetings right now. There's one on by the Palliative Care Society of South Shore. So,
Oh,
so that started 6:30. So I have 2 devices and 2 sets of earphones. Welcome to my world.
I'd been planning to do the same, Suzanne, with a board meeting tonight, but it actually got pushed to next week, so I didn't have to split my time.
It happens more frequently. You know, I see on TV they have these crossover events where one show and another show cross over. Well, I have crossover meetings that just, you know, sometimes it's really hard. When we did the legislature, we had to take a 15-minute break every hour to allow people to get up from, at least walk around, use the washroom, you know, get yourself another cup of coffee or whatever. But some Zoom meetings, there's no recess, there's no break, and they just keep going on and on and on. And then you hop on and, you know, most appointments come by the hour, a half hour. So you just, my day sometimes is just Zoom, 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 or Teams, whichever device I'm on.
Hopefully the other meeting's more exciting than what this one is.
Well, it's about grief. It depends on how you feel about grief, but it's different perspectives. But
Yeah.
I worked a long time with a group from Social Help trying to get some grief type of programming for people on the South Shore. It's unless you're registered in palliative care, you do not receive any kind of grief services. And it's, you know, a lot, you know, there is a need and a lack of resources. And unfortunately, people used to go to church at one time, if any of you know, and a lot of people got a lot of their rituals that they practice from their faith communities, or, you know, their clergy person provided that for people. And more and more people are grieving differently and deal with different rituals, or some have no rituals anymore. So it's made grieving very difficult for people. They don't know if what they're doing is appropriate or right. And I guess there's no inappropriate way to grieve as long as you're not hurting someone else. But it's tough for people. They sometimes the rituals that our faith communities used to provide for many people, people don't know what's okay and what's not okay, or just don't have the community of support that a faith community does provide. So yeah, some people are in a new world.
And it's definitely harder with the restrictions on visitations also.
Oh,
Makes it really hard for people.
It is really hard. People can't get together. If they can't hug, they can't help each other. You know, if you have, I think it's down to what, 5 people at a funeral right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I
really
think,
hard.
you know, some of Dr. Strang's message today concerned communities of faith specifically, I think.
Yes. And we tend to be touchy-feely, and you can't, you know, a lot of I've heard a lot of widows in our town over the years say the only time they got hugged was when they went to church on Sunday, you know, and touch is really important for people.
And Mother's Day.
And Mother's Day. Yeah, but look, we couldn't hug, right? My hugs were in HRM. I had one hugger here, one hugger still in Mahone Bay, but you know, it's tough for people. And you know, you know, it's just one of the things that they're looking into. Sometimes funeral homes have programs that they provide for people grieving and whatnot, but there's different kinds of grief. You have people right now who are grieving a loss of friendship and socialization, kids grieving because they're not in school with their kids, with their friends, and children of divorce and separation grieve. Children who are from armed forces families who they're not transferred as much as they used to be, but years ago, you know, your parent could be gone for over a year when they're deployed. And every time they leave on a new mission, children go through the same process that a child who loses a parent goes through. And we don't always think of those things, you know. We sometimes say, you know, get back to normal, you know,
Mhm.
go outside and play, go do this, but
There's a different story behind every door in Mahone Bay,
exactly.
right? Everyone's situation is just a little bit different and takes a little special understanding.
For sure, for sure. So they're having some conversation with two experts, and the one is from our local area who herself lost a child, but has gone on to provide counseling and
Mhm.
programming for people with grief. And I've worked quite closely with her, Hillary. And then I'm new to Serena. She's from I think Millbrook First Nations. So
Mm.
she's done a lot with she's a social worker as well, and so she's done a lot with the missing Indigenous women and missing and murdered Indigenous women as
Mhm.
well, you know. So there are many reasons why people grieve. People grieve when they retire. They grieve when they lose, you know, people when they lose their job. There's all types of grief we have in our life. It
Mhm.
isn't just, it's not only death doesn't have the only hand in this. You know, there are many things that people, pets, look how important pets have become to families now.
Mm.
Who is the official timekeeper here, Maureen or
Councillor
David?
Feeney, I think we're at our time, CAO. Councillor Feeney?
Just a quick question to the CAO. So I think our normal convention in this type of situation is we would normally move along to the council agenda for the first reading. Is that
We-
the standard? That's the standard process?
We would normally do that on a night where we had a council meeting at the same time. Yeah.
Same time.
Yeah, fair enough. So like my sense of things is that given that we've received correspondence that we may want to incorporate into the final product, whether it strikes me that it may be beneficial to defer the first reading until an opportunity for the committee to get back together one more time, review the correspondence that was provided to council this afternoon, and figure out if we want to take any of those any information from those submissions, of which there was a substantial amount of effort to provide council some of that feedback into the document before we take it to the first reading tomorrow night. So I'm wondering if it makes more sense to amend tomorrow evening's council agenda to defer that item so that the committee could get together before we simply defer the first reading until the next meeting, which will happen tomorrow night anyway.
Yeah,
So I
we
guess we
don't
could-
need to amend the agenda. When the report of the clerk on tonight's session comes on the agenda, the things that would be in order to do at that time would be to either give first reading or to create an
Defer.
opportunity for discussion prior to first reading.
Fair
So,
enough.
you know, I think that's just in order on the item, but the report of the clerk should still be delivered. There still was a hearing, and you know, if council feels that what's been heard at a hearing warrants additional discussion, that's absolutely the point. Because if you were forced to go to first reading, why would we have a hearing?
Okay.
So yeah, so I think it comes down to a council member to put a motion either for first reading or to defer the item, you know, at that time. But it'd be a motion to defer the item itself rather than amend the agenda.
Fair enough. Okay.
I could just clarify, we don't really need a first and second reading for the strategic plan, do we, Dylan? We really just need
Thank
to
you, Mo. Sorry, yes, I
passed,
was
yeah.
forgetting that this is not a, yeah, so when you're actually ready to do it, you'll just do it. You won't actually have to give it a, we would be at the second reading opportunity now if it was a bylaw. So thank you, Mo. I'm so used to the idea of in any normal circumstance, a hearing is prescribed by legislation. We just prescribe this hearing for ourselves in this case. So once council is, you could defer it, and then once council is ready, you could just adopt the plan and you don't have to do a first and second reading.
Okay.
Your
Yes.
Worship, we have
Deputy.
a question on the on YouTube. I believe it's a fair question to answer, where we normally just receive comments at a public hearing, but I think it's a question, a clarification. regarding Councillor Feeney's question, who is the committee? And I believe that was just a reference to the councils had working groups, working sessions to get together to come up with the strategic plan and review different drafts so they get to a point that they're comfortable with what's going forward. So that's actually the reference there with the committee.
Yeah, and to clarify though, the item wouldn't be referred to committee. So the committee is not really the right term. The item would be deferred to the subsequent meeting of council, during which time council could engage in a process to consider alternative drafts for the wording of the plan.
And council is the group that worked on the development of this with consultants and with staff. And then at one point, council said, I think we might be getting close here. And then we moved to the engagements with the public. So it has been a council process, but there's a lot of other people that have been involved providing information and guidance to council.
And any suggested change to the document would be the subject of discussion at the May 27th council meeting.
Would you say that again, please, CAO?
Oh, just because I assume the question is where will the discussion on any potential changes reflective of the correspondence take place, and where council would make a decision on it, and that would be when the meeting is, with the meeting to which it is deferred, which I assume would be the May 27th meeting.
27th, yep. Okay. Thank you.
So
Our
those
time
are
has,
the questions. Yeah.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Sorry, just to clarify, those are all the questions we have on YouTube.
Okay. Then before we close this session down, we've gone beyond our 15 minutes. Does anyone here have a comment? You're on mute, Emily.
Sorry. Ken and I are putting up a pop-up body shop on the corner, but on our property for all the accidents at the new all-way stop.
Go up with your placard tomorrow morning when they're doing the work and you can advertise.
I think once people get used to it, they will be very happy to see the slowdown of traffic and being able to cross that crosswalk safely. But you know, I grew up going to the old Mahone Bay School 4 times a day. When every vehicle going to Yarmouth came through Main Street, Mahone Bay, and we survived. And we had some heavy traffic, and over the years on this street. But I think you'll always have someone go through that it will be a 4-way stop because there is that little lane. So you know, they still go through the 4-way stop in Blockhouse and the one out in you know, by the Falkingham's farm and
Pleasant and Fairmont, they do too.
Pleasant and Fairmont,
Go through it.
Yes. So you know, you'll always get the odd person, but I think for people coming out from Bayview School, it will be a big relief because it is that sight line is really difficult.
Okay. No comments? Okay. Entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor Burdick, seconded by Deputy Mayor. All in favor? We are adjourned. Thank you for taking the time to join us on this beautiful evening. And we'll talk about this again tomorrow night.